Tu Na slides one line of handwriting across the table, and it lands like a last chance. Henry doesn't cry, he just watches the phone, because he's learned what buzzing means. Alex's hand hovers between the paper and the call, and the room goes still. A child is about to learn what a father chooses when it matters. Tu Na slides one line of handwriting across the table, and it lands like a last chance. Henry doesn't cry, he just watches the phone because he's learned what buzzing means. Alex's hand hovers between the paper and the call, and the room goes still. A child is about to learn what a father chooses when it matters. Tu Na stayed awake until the night stopped feeling like night. The wooden house was quiet, but it wasn't restful. A cup of warm water cooled on the table. Medicine packets sat lined up like someone was trying to turn worry into order. Henry crawled near Tu Na's feet, then paused and looked at the doorway. He didn't cry. Lately, crying didn't always change anything. Alex's mother sat opposite Tu Na, back straight, hands folded. Her silence felt like a rule. Tu Na kept one hand on her belly without thinking. The baby moved lightly now and then, and she breathed slow, trying to keep her body calm. On the table were 3 things she had chosen on purpose: the follow-up schedule, a report stamped in red, and one line in Tu Na's handwriting, plain and direct. Outside, the farm woke in pieces. Then footsteps on gravel. Henry went still. Tu Na didn't stand. She waited. The door opened, and Alex stepped in. Jacket still on, dust on his shoes, eyes tired in a way that didn't match the hour. He stopped when he saw them both sitting there, like he'd expected the house to be asleep and forgiving. "Mom," he said first, because it was safer than looking at Tu Na. His mother didn't ask about the deal. She looked at him once, then at the bedroom door, then back at him. Tu Na slid the papers across the table toward Alex. Not angrily, not dramatically, just calmly. Like she was placing down something that had to be seen before any other words mattered. Alex stared at them without touching them. His eyes flicked to Tu Na's face, searching for the old version of her, the one who would make things easy. Tu Na didn't offer that. Alex picked up the top page and read. The red stamp caught him first. His fingers tightened. "Pregnancy is weak," he read quietly. Henry's eyes followed Alex's hands. Henry had started watching objects, phones, keys, papers, because objects were often what made adults leave. Alex turned the page and found the handwritten line. "On any day I'm in pain, you must be here. No arguing, no explaining. Just be here." Alex swallowed. He looked up. "You're giving me conditions?" he asked. His voice sounded rough, not offended. Tu Na held his gaze. Her face wasn't cold. It was tired. The tiredness of someone who had already tried every gentler way. "I'm giving you conditions to live," she said. Henry crawled closer to Tu Na and pressed his forehead against her knee, steadying himself. Alex's mother gave a small nod, like she had been waiting for Tu Na to stop shrinking. Alex set the paper down carefully. "Tu Na, why didn't you tell me it was this serious?" "I did," Tu Na said. "Not with a report. With my face. With my hands shaking when I held Henry. With the way I stopped asking you to stay." Alex opened his mouth, then closed it. He looked at Henry. Henry wasn't reaching for him. Henry stayed pressed to Tu Na, watching Alex like a child watching weather. Quiet, cautious, expecting change without warning. Alex's shoulders dropped a fraction. "I came back," he said, and it sounded like he wanted that to count. Tu Na watched him for a moment, the way a person watches someone approach after being disappointed too many times. She didn't soften. She didn't harden. She simply stayed still, because still was the only thing she could control. Tu Na nodded once. Near morning, she replied, after Henry already learned what waiting feels like. Alex flinched, small but visible. His mother spoke before he could defend himself. "Don't look at me," she said calmly. "Look at what your wife had to write down because words weren't working." Alex turned back to Tu Na. "I'm trying," he said softly. "The pressure." "I know," Tu Na said, cutting him off gently, not cruelly. "But I can't keep being quiet, so your pressure feels lighter." She tapped the clinic schedule. "These days, these hours. This is when my body can't pretend." Alex nodded too quickly. "I can arrange." "Don't arrange," Tu Na said. "Be there." The simplicity of it left him with no speech to hide behind. Tu Na's eyes were wet, but her voice stayed steady. "I don't want a divorce," she said. "I'm not trying to destroy our family." Alex's face softened for a second, like he thought this meant everything was safe again. Then she finished, and the calm in her voice made it heavier. "But I also don't want to die slowly in silence," she said. No shouting, no scene. Just a line that sounded like truth, finally refusing to be polite. Alex stared at her, then down at Henry. "Can I hold him?" he asked. Henry didn't move. Tu Na watched Henry's face for a moment. "Not because you feel guilty," she said. "Only if you can stay." Alex looked like a man standing between two doors, trying to convince himself he could keep both open. His company phone buzzed on the table. Henry's body stiffened at the sound. Not panic. Training. He pressed closer to Tu Na's side, as if he had decided not to risk reaching again. Tu Na didn't turn toward the phone. Her eyes stayed on Alex. Alex's mother placed her palm over the vibrating phone and stopped it. She looked at Tu Na as she spoke. "This is where it always breaks," she said. Alex stared at the phone under his mother's hand. His breath came out slow. Tu Na didn't beg. She didn't threaten. She just repeated the line she had written because she needed him to hear it without decoration. "Just be here," she said. Alex lifted his eyes to her, and for the first time that night, he understood the cost wasn't a contract. The cost was a child learning what adults choose when it matters. And when a woman is pregnant, everyone has opinions about what she should do. Her eyes went to Alex's mother for a second, then back to Alex. "But I'm done being carried by other people's decisions," Tu Na continued. "I'm tired of being moved like luggage." Alex's mother didn't deny it this time. She looked at Tu Na carefully, as if realizing that control only works until the person being controlled stops cooperating. Alex rubbed his face with one hand, then forced his hand down. "Tell me what you need," he said. Tu Na's voice stayed plain. "Presence," she answered, "not solutions." Alex nodded again. "Okay." The phone buzzed. This time, Tu Na didn't even glance at it. Henry did. He stiffened, then pressed his forehead into Tu Na's leg again like he was trying to disappear into her. His hand hovered between the papers and the phone, like he was deciding what kind of man he would be before the next buzz came. Alex didn't touch the phone. He kept his eyes on Tu Na, like if he looked away, he'd fall back into old habits without noticing. "I'm here," he said. Tu Na didn't nod like she used to. She didn't reward the sentence. She watched him, waiting to see if "here" meant minutes or meaning. Henry shifted slightly, still pressed against Tu Na's knee. He didn't crawl toward Alex. He didn't turn away either. He stayed in that small space where a child tests safety without offering trust too early. Alex's mother removed her hand from the phone but didn't slide it back to him. She left it on the table, visible, like a threat everyone could name. because the name represented a life that always reached into this house and pulled him away. "I'll do it," he repeated. Tu Na's gaze stayed steady. "You'll do it even if your mother says it's not practical." Alex's mother didn't react outwardly, but her jaw tightened. She didn't like being used as a test. She also didn't deny the truth of it. Alex looked at his mother once, then back at Tu Na. "Yes." The word came out with effort. His mother's voice stayed controlled. "Don't say yes because you feel cornered. Say yes because you finally understand what's already happening." Alex's throat moved. "I understand," he said, but it sounded like he was still catching up. Tu Na leaned back slightly, one hand on her belly, the other on Henry's back. She didn't soothe Henry the way she used to, Alex noticed, and his expression changed. It wasn't anger at the phone. It was shame at what the phone had taught his child. Alex's mother reached out and turned the phone face down without picking it up. "Enough," she said, and for once the command wasn't to control Alex. It was to protect Henry from the sound. Alex exhaled through his nose. "I'll talk to Lan later." Tu Na's eyes stayed on him. "You'll talk later," she repeated. "Not now." Alex nodded. "Not now." For a few seconds, the room felt like it had stopped shaking. Henry shifted again. He didn't move toward Alex, but his shoulders dropped slightly, as if his body was relieved by the absence of buzzing. Tu Na watched that small change, and her chest tightened. Not with relief, with grief, because it shouldn't take a silent phone for a child to feel safe. Alex reached his hand toward Henry slowly, not grabbing, not demanding. "Henry," he said quietly. Henry looked at the hand, then at Alex's face. He didn't smile, he didn't cry, he just stayed still, deciding. Tu Na didn't push him. She didn't say, "Go to Dad." She didn't force a performance of family. She only said to Alex, "Don't rush him." Alex nodded. "I won't." He kept his hand there, open, then withdrew it slowly when Henry didn't move. He didn't act offended. He didn't act wounded. He simply accepted it. That acceptance was the first real apology. Alex looked at Tu Na again. "The contract tonight, I signed it," he said, "but it didn't feel like winning." Tu Na didn't respond with sympathy. She responded with honesty. "Because you felt what it costs," she said. Alex's eyes lowered. "I did." Tu Na tapped the clinic schedule. "These appointments," she said. "These days. I don't want to hear 30 minutes. I don't want to hear, 'I'll try.'" Alex's mouth tightened. "You want certainty?" "I want evidence," Tu Na corrected gently. "Certainty is too big. Evidence is smaller. It's real." Alex nodded. "Then I'll show you." Tu Na's eyes filled, but she didn't let tears fall. Her voice stayed controlled. "And one more thing," she said. Alex lifted his head, listening. Tu Na's gaze went to her mother-in-law. "I respect you," she said to Alex's mother. "I know you're trying to protect." Alex's mother's eyes narrowed slightly, ready for criticism. Tu Na continued, calm but firm. "But protection can't mean control." Tu Na pointed at the paper again. "Read it out loud," she said. Alex blinked. "Why?" "So you hear yourself?" Tu Na answered. "Not in your head. Out loud." Alex swallowed and read it, word by word. "On any day she's in pain, I must be here. No arguing, no explaining. Just be here." The last sentence felt like it stayed in the air longer than the rest. Henry's eyes lifted to Alex's mouth as he spoke, then to Tu Na's face, trying to connect the words to what had happened before. Alex put the paper down. His voice went lower. "I can do that." Tu Na didn't say good. She didn't say thank you. She looked at him like a woman who had been told, "I can," many times by men who meant, "I want to." "You'll do it even if Lon calls," she said. Alex flinched at the name, not because he was guilty. She let him feel what he felt, and she stayed still so he wouldn't have to manage her emotions too. "Henry hears everything," she said, "even when he doesn't know what the words mean." Alex nodded, eyes on Henry. Henry didn't look away. He watched Alex the way he watched a gate when strangers came, quiet, alert, ready to freeze. Alex's mother spoke softly, almost like she didn't want her voice to add pressure. "He's learned the sound of leaving." Tu Na breathed in and out once, slow. "And I've learned the sound of enduring," she replied. Alex's face tightened. "You shouldn't have had to endure alone." Tu Na didn't argue. She didn't comfort him by saying it's okay. She just said what was true. "I didn't want to fight," she said, "because fighting makes people decide I'm difficult. Not anymore. If you want peace in this house, you can't treat me like someone you move around." Alex's mother held her gaze. For a moment, she looked like she might argue. Then she gave a small, stiff nod. Not softness, not surrender, but acknowledgement. Tu Na turned back to Alex. "And you," she said, quieter. "Don't use your mother's voice to make choices easier for you. If you choose something, it has to be your choice." Alex's throat tightened. "I understand." Henry crawled up onto the bed and sat beside Tu Na, leaning into her side. He didn't look at Alex, but he didn't flinch anymore. That tiny difference felt like a warning and a hope at the same time. Alex sat down on the wooden stool near the bed. Not too close, not too far. He didn't reach for Tu Na's hand. He didn't ask to be forgiven quickly. He just stayed. His mother watched him, then spoke quietly. "If you can learn this," she said, "you might still have a home." Alex didn't respond like a CEO. He responded like a man. "I want my home," he said. Tu Na's voice came out soft, but it carried weight. "Then stop making me earn it alone," she said. The room went quiet again, but this time the quiet didn't feel like someone disappearing. It felt like the first moment where Tu Na's voice was allowed to exist, without apology, without permission, and without being turned into someone else's problem.